Oh my gosh. Hi, Biscuit.
Even if I don't make it, at least I tried.
No one's going to teach you better to adapt than life, right?
I don't know. Oh my God, I hope they don't kill me if they ever see this. I don't like pop punk.
He was so hot, he could have pushed me around. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's a really, really hard question.
90% is fighting the algorithm like it owes you
Yeah.
rent.
You have to do it. You have to make the choices to make things better for yourself.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't.
Hi,
Hey, Maggie Jo, can you hear me just fine?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Good to hear. Do you go by Maggie Jo, Maggie, Mags? What do you prefer?
You can just call me Maggie.
Perfect. Did you ever, by any chance, ever go by like a nickname associated to Maggie that you just didn't like?
I've been called everything with mag in it. Like Magster, Magnesium. There's a lot of different nicknames that I've gone by. Well, I haven't gone by it, but people call me.
So funny because that's exactly where my mind went when I was writing my notes. I'm like, there are so many names you can call a Maggie, so I've got to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
You're joining us from Las Vegas, is that correct?
I am. Beautiful Las Vegas. Right now
So
it's very
sick.
hot and humid outside.
Oh my gosh, so sick. It's actually where I lived before moving out to Austin, so it's my old stomping grounds.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I love Texas too. My family's from there, so
Very cool. Well, if you ever make your way down to Austin, let me know.
absolutely.
Well, I mean, unless I totally fuck up this interview and you're like, delete, never want to talk to him
Oh
again, then I'll understand.
no.
What part of
No.
Vegas are you in?
It's like the west side of Vegas.
Very cool. I used to be in Summerlin area. Are you familiar with like Tivoli Village?
Oh yes, yes.
Then immediately as soon as I saw Las Vegas, it took me back to like Summerlin and like going out to eat at like Cafe Leone. And I was thinking like, I've got to ask her, like, people usually associate Las Vegas to like casinos. That's it, right? But
Yeah.
me, being a local there are so many beautiful hiking spots. So I wanted to ask you to kick things off real quick. What are some underrated or some of your favorite spots as a local in Las Vegas that you like?
Well, I definitely frequent Chinatown a lot because I love Asian food. And I am a lover of milk teas, so I like Tea Mason. There's this new place called Sunright Tea Studio. They are amazing. I highly recommend it. And then I'm always a sucker for Korean barbecue.
Oh my gosh, that's definitely one of my favorites too, but I haven't had like any good solid like boba teas or anything out here, and that's definitely something I do miss from Las Vegas is how many different cultural spots there are to try different foods, Peruvian food. I do miss that from the West Coast for sure.
Yeah, I moved out to California for a bit, and one thing I did miss about Vegas was the food. Absolutely, the food. We have amazing food here.
No, 100%. And I'll just kind of leave this here on record about when it comes to Mexican food. I love Juan's Flaming Fajitas, and they have really set the bar so high. And a lot of people, when they come to Austin, they're like, oh, we want to go get Mexican. It's really difficult because, again, I'm spoiled from the West Coast, so I know good
Yes.
Mexican food. And here it's like Tex-Mex, and they're not the same. You know what I mean?
It's not the same. It's very different.
Totally. Well, before we talk Maggie Joe music, I want to ask you real quick, what were some of your creative outlets growing up?
I was in a band previously whenever I was a teenager, so music has always, always been my creative outlet. And then, I did art. I'm not going to say I was good at it, but it was an outlet.
Very cool. And are there any relatives or people who knew you from your childhood previously to being in that band and obviously now pursuing this solo project that would say they're surprised that you're doing music?
I have always had a huge love for music. My dad is an Elvis impersonator.
No way.
Yeah, so I know every Elvis song known to man. So I grew up with it, seeing him perform. So I don't think it was really a surprise that I'm doing music now.
Do you think that that impacted the way that you dove into different styles of genres growing up? Like, obviously having your own personal taste in music, but then seeing your dad do this iconic Elvis show, right? Like, did that impact your taste in music at all?
My dad is very well-rounded in music. He listened to a lot of like classic rock, and of course, Elvis was his favorite. Growing up and listening to boy bands, and I was obsessed with boy bands. But then I discovered rock music, and I was just like, this is where I belong. This is where I belong. So when I did start getting into it, my family was like, "What are you listening to?" But it's who I am.
I love it. And I wanted to ask you this real quick because I did have it in my notes to talk about a little bit. When Maggie Jo thinks of middle school or high school, what music comes to mind?
Um, you know, Lincoln Park. That was definitely a big one. I listened to Hoobastank a lot. Sugar Cult was one of my favorites. And old bands like Zebrahead. I don't know if you know who they are.
I've never heard of Zebra Head before. What kind of genre are they? Just heavy rock, metal rock? What kind of rock?
I'd say like, I don't know. Oh my God, I hope they don't kill me if they ever see this. I don't like pop punk.
Amazing. Well, I mean, it sounds like you do know pretty much like the impression of where it all started. And I feel like that's so important to talk about with artists because I feel like the fact that you were so exposed to a different genre like Elvis, but still had your own taste in rock is so influential when it comes to pursuing your own artistry. So I love that, especially because definitely didn't think we were going to talk about this, but I'm just freestyling here real quick. But I used to get that a lot growing up where, I was flamboyant, I was like a cheerleader, and people were like, whoa, you listen to like rock music? And I'm like, dude, punk rock, ska, pop punk, anything heavy metal, you name it, I know it, I love it. I'm assuming with you, not to make assumptions, but people would look at you and be like, stunning, beautiful girl, what does she know about rock music? And here you are schooling me on a band I've never heard of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and whenever, I started getting into like emo music too, like I really found my love in that, like Taking Back Sunday, Armor for Sleep, like then I was just like, okay, I found myself.
Absolutely. And prior to music, between the gap of being in a band and this solo project, what were your ventures? What were you doing before that?
Well, I was in the band in high school, and then after that, I, got into some bad things. I did, and I fell off for a while. I had to recover from that, and then, was just working. I got married, and that didn't turn out great
It's okay. It
either.
happens. It happens.
And, after all of that, I was like, you know what? I need to go back to my roots. I need to find myself, find who I am again, and I'm going to pursue it full throttle.
I feel like that to me speaks clarity, right? Like you almost have to kind of refine who you are in order to be able to truly, like you said, go full throttle at something like pursuing music. And so I feel like you were going through all this bullshit. Now you're kind of clearing your mind from all of it. And because of that comes good writing, comes a more clear path of what you want to do. And it really shows in this first song, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I love you opening up about that. How long after going through all of that did you start putting things down on paper to write about it?
I always write, like, I have notes in my phone of just writing, like, lyrics and poetry. I never use any of it. Like my whole writing process, I will sit with the instrumental of a song and see how it makes me feel, and then I'll go off of that. And it just so happened that with All of Me, whenever I was sitting with the instrumental of that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to tap into the pain from my divorce.
Prior to that, were you like, because I feel like something that a lot of artists don't really talk about, right? We usually talk about like the aftermath of something when it becomes a song or a poem, like you said, right? During this like marriage of yours or everything that you were going through, depression, anxiety, everything, when life hits you, it hits you good, right?
Oh, yeah.
During that time, did it cross your mind to pursue music, or was it until it all kind of settled down that you thought about going back to pursuing it, if that makes any sense?
I always had that calling and that need to do music. After everything, I broke out into, like modeling and doing all of that. And finally, I got back to Vegas and I met some people who were making music, and I was like, okay, maybe I can start doing this again. So before I started, working with the people that I am now, I was writing previously, and then, cut that off and then just started pursuing this.
So awesome. And what would you say modeling and music, what is something that they share in common when it comes to this being a creative outlet, if that makes any sense?
Well, with my modeling shoots, I would always have this like vision in my head of how I wanted to be. So, you do all the costuming. How am I going to do my makeup? What story do I want to tell with these photos? And that definitely, plays hand in hand with music too, because you're also telling a story.
Absolutely. I love to hear that from you. And by the way, I did scope out some of those photo shoots you're talking about. Absolutely stunning. They are
Thank
so
you.
gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Were some of those the ones that you did like in the snow or something? Was that in like Mount Charleston or was that in Vegas or anything like that or no?
Yeah, that was in Mount Charleston. It was freezing. I was in that red dress. And
Yes.
that one for me, it was very much like my rebirth. I just gotten back to Vegas and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take my crown back. So that's why you see the crown in those photos too. And, it's like a woman on fire. She's the phoenix. She's coming back up.
Yes. Well, I kind of want to talk about that real quick because the empowerment in this song of yours is absolutely incredible, which is why it's so fascinating to hear you talk about like the clarity of where you wanted to go in this direction because it shows in just the song alone. But what pushed you to say, fuck it, I'm pursuing this song the way I'm pursuing it? Like, what was that moment for you?
Whenever I was in my marriage, I felt very, very isolated. I wasn't pursuing anything, creative like I wanted to. And after everything was said and done, I was just like, oh my God, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world out here. I can do whatever I want. And so I was like, you know what? Yes, this is the moment. I am gonna go do modeling. I'm gonna make music. I'm coming back.
Was this the first time Maggie Jo experienced this big aha moment, so pivotal in her life the way you're doing it now?
Yeah, absolutely. That was my big aha moment. It's like, now or never. And, I made a pact with myself. I was like, even if I don't make it, at least I tried.
What would you say is your advice to anyone listening who feels like they're having a difficult time committing to themselves when it comes to pursuing something, that rediscovering of who they are? Maybe they're feeling a little bit lost, but they don't know how to get out of that funk. Aside from streaming this song to help them out, what would you say is your best advice for anyone that's feeling that way?
You are only one choice away from changing your life, only one choice away. And you may be feeling all of these emotions now, and it's literally your perception of how you view the world. You have to change that. You have to do it. You have to make the choices to make things better for yourself.
So beautifully said. And I think coming from you, someone who's been able to walk that advice, and it shows, right? It shows in the empowerment that you took with those photos you described. It shows in the direction that you're taking music and this approach to this single. I think that that's so important. So thank you so much for sharing that because I do think that sometimes we get so lost in like, well, I don't know how, so I won't. But hearing
Yeah.
someone who's been able to do it is so uplifting. It can be uplifting. So thank you so much for sharing that for sure.
Absolutely. And, one of my mantras, well, I'm going to say it's the mantra for me, is turn your pain into power.
And I feel like you're doing that. This is the era that you're doing that, and it shows.
Thank you.
Of course, we can't talk about this song without talking about the video. But first of all, if I'm not mistaken, did I read somewhere that you had some people bail on you at the last minute during the shoot or something like that?
Yeah. So, I lined up all of, the musicians and one of the guitarists that, was supposed to be in the video. He bailed out last minute. He was going through some terrible things, I'm sure. And, as a person who has gone through really, really hard things, I was like, you know what? It's fine. Work through what you have to work through. I will make this work. In the beginning scene of the music video, you see the actor and me, and we're having this fight. Originally, it was supposed to be someone else, and they bailed out that morning.
Oh my gosh.
So we quickly had to find someone else. So, we had to very, very quickly pull like different, plan A, plan B, plan C out of thin air. So it was a very, very stressful moment. Those were very stressful moments, but always got to have a backup plan.
Dude, hell yeah. Did improvising in photo shoots kind of play a factor in being able to adapt so quickly versus someone who's never done this? They would have been like, what do I do? But to me, when I read that, I'm like, damn, that video was so well done that I wouldn't have been able to tell who was the one that was supposed to be in it. What happened? There was really no like breakout that made me think, oh, that's where it was. Did modeling come into hand with that in regards to being able to think quick on your toes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think modeling really played a hand with it. Just, living life and, interacting with people, that people, go through things, things happen. Unfortunately, sometimes it's a lot. And so I quickly learned growing up, you just have to go with the flow and continue on. You can't, sit and be like, oh, my world's falling apart. I don't know what to do. You just have to fix it and you got to keep going.
Absolutely. No one's going to teach you better to adapt than life, right?
Exactly.
Is it toxic of me to think he was so hot he could have pushed me around? Do you know what I'm talking about?
You know.
Who is this guy in the video that stepped in to save the day?
He was actually, he was playing guitar for vampires for a little bit. He did an amazing, amazing job. His acting was so spot on. Like, he did great. And it was so funny while filming too, because he's trying to, have all these like crazy emotions. And then I'm so unserious and I'm off to the side, like making little jokes and he's like breaking a little bit. But, he did so well, so well.
I love to hear that there was good chemistry on set, especially when you're dealing with, heavy topics. So I love to hear that the chemistry was so good. And it shows because, like I said, I had read that prior to watching the video and I just couldn't find like what was missing in the video. And so very well job, very good done. Well, oh, now I'm fucking
Job
stuttering
well
because
done.
I'm thinking of my fucking toxic comment that I made. But job well done to you and the crew for sure. I'm so glad that he was able to step in and make it work. It's such a good video for sure.
Thank you.
How did you connect with Dark Kingdom Records? How did that intertwining happen for you?
That was a crazy, crazy situation. I don't know what the universe was doing, but I went to an Alisana show and, I went with my friends and then I wandered off for a little bit and I was just like, standing up against a wall, just texting on my phone. Then this like drunk guy comes up and tries inappropriately touching me. And so next thing you know, I'm just like, please don't touch me. Don't effing touch me. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I have to run towards the first group of men that I see. I had been acquainted with his tour manager and I saw him standing with his group of friends. So I just ran up and I was just like, hey, can I stand with you guys for a little bit? This guy's touching me. And they were like, okay. And that's how I met Michael Vampire. So they
That
kind of
is
saved me in
so
that sense.
crazy.
Yeah, and then, started hanging out with them, and then he was starting his record label back up again, singing karaoke. And so the tour manager, I guess went to him and it was just like, hey, like she can sing, maybe she can be, a project to work on. And so, it all just went off from there.
Dude, the universe has a very clever way of aligning us in a way like people would be like, oh, it sounds so made up. That sounds like a movie scene. But those are the
Yeah.
moments in our lives that mean the most, right? That's so crazy.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. That situation was so weird. It was so weird.
Well, shout out to the men who step up to take someone in when they're in a position like you where you're vulnerable and you're like, I don't know what to do, but like I feel uncomfortable. Like, and because of that, this is why I really do believe that like there is such good thing as karma and a good karma because what came out of that came this artistic relationship that's now creating magic. I feel like it's just the perfect example of like being able to take an iffy situation and making something beautiful out of it, you know?
Absolutely.
So, so awesome. Well, in honor of Dark Kingdom Records taking a chance on you, these are some questions inspired by their name with a twist. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. The first one I have is Light Kingdom Records. If the record label said, hey, we want to try a dark mixed with a little pop, a little softer side, what artist would you pull inspiration from?
That's so out of their genre. That's a really, really hard question. Um, I don't know, maybe something like Honey Revenge.
Very cool. Okay, love it. The next one I have for you is Dark Queendom Records. If the record label said, hey, we're hosting an all-female show, who are you sharing the stage with?
Oh, that would be really cool to do like a show with Spirit Box. That would be
Nice.
amazing. And
Yes.
then definitely I would say Rivals. God, that girl can sing. Oh my God.
So good. I mean, I feel like those top two right there, it would be a great trio of a good performance for sure.
Yeah, I think it would be super fun. So maybe, cross my fingers one day.
Amazing. That's all we're doing. We're manifesting a little bit, you know?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. How did the introduction with this song with Michael happen? At what point did it become a collaboration, or was it always a collaboration?
Didn't start out as a collaboration. He helped me get the instrumentals made and, helped orchestrate all of that. Whenever I started writing and coming to him with my singing parts, I was like, I really want screaming in here. And then he was just like, you know what? I'll step up. I'm going to do it. And so, it became an amazing song.
So, so sick. Something I wanted to compliment you on real quick is the fact that you're coming out of the gate with not just a really good leading single, right? It's also a good collaboration, but you also have writing credits. And a lot of people, specifically when they're working under a label, they don't have that. And so I wanted to ask you, how important is it for you to be involved with every aspect of your music moving forward?
I would say that, it's a very important thing to me. I mean, personally, I don't have, much control over like the instrumentals or anything. I just listen to it and I'm like, if I feel it, this is it. And then I write all the melodies and the lyrics, and that's very, very important to me depending on what story I want to tell and how it makes me feel.
Absolutely. Is there some sort of pressure that you have been feeling lately in regards to releasing something completely solo without a feature after having support on your first song?
I don't think that there's a huge amount of pressure. I mean, there is, but as long as I'm doing something that I love, like, hopefully success comes with it. You have to be prepared to fail.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's the best advice anyone can hear because you're absolutely right. And in my opinion, success is the fact that you gave it a shot. And that alone is a huge win of its own. So major kudos to you. What can we expect in regards to next single? I know it's still a little bit too early. The song is just, barely born in August, but I'm curious to ask you about this. Are those wheels already turning?
I do have some previous works that I wanted to work on and possibly get released. Nothing is set in stone. Can't really talk about anything yet, but want it to be something amazing. I'm not just going to put out, something I had previously that I'm not happy with. So it's going to be something new.
Well, I know it's going to probably be just as amazing as this one, if not better. So super excited to see what else you decide to come out with. And oh my gosh, who's this?
This is Biscuit.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Biscuit.
Say hi, Mama.
Oh my gosh, she is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Is she your only fur baby?
Yeah, she is my only fur baby. She's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
So, so beautiful. Totally random because I was going through Instagram real quick and I noticed a post where you said dropping music is 10% talent, 90% is fighting the algorithm like it owes you
Yeah.
rent. Hell yes, that was the most relatable thing ever. How are you navigating that now that the song is out, right? The single's already out,
Yeah.
promoting it. How are you dealing with that?
It takes a lot of content and posting. These days, if you want to be a music artist, you also have to be a content creator, unfortunately. So it's not all just about talent. It's about posting videos, trying to hit that algorithm, trying to get the most people to see you. So it is a bit of a struggle. It is, I'm not going to lie. But, I just want to post videos and have fun doing it, like the one where I have her with the sunglasses.
Yes.
Baby, I'm sorry.
Don't you ever talk to me or my dog ever again.
it's a balance too about making it entertaining and, not just, clips of like the music video.
No, I love it. And it's the most relatable thing because I think a lot of people, I don't know how old you are. I'm sure I'm probably a lot older than you. I'm 36, but people my age are very like reluctant. How do you say that word?
Relentless?
Relentless. To be honest, I don't
Like
even
you
know
just
what
keep
word
going for it?
like like very hesitant, you know what I mean, in regards to
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, I don't want to put out content. I'm not a content creator. But then you get to this point where you realize, no, babes, that's part of playing the game. If you want to have a chance at elbowing your way in, you have to play that game. And so it's so refreshing to hear you say that because you're absolutely right. It's unfortunate, but it's part of it. And I love that you're having fun with it because it also shows a part of yourself, a part of you outside of your music, like with your baby girl joining you on some videos, you know?
Yeah.
In regards to music videos in the future, are you still going to be hands-on with the direction of who's going to be in it, what, the images or the imagery that you want to go with it, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I was very hands-on with the last music video, and I still plan to be. I have a very artistic mind. I get visions in my head of how, I want things to be. They don't always turn out that way, but you always have an idea.
Well, that's the beauty of it, right? Like you said, you have to be open to failing at it if you're going to give it a chance, right?
Exactly.
What would be your number one advice to a female artist listening that wants to get into music? It's so corny for me to even say, but as we know, most things in life are primarily driven by men in the big rooms, right? What is your number one advice to them if they find it a little bit intimidating to give it a chance?
Never underestimate yourself. You can
Mm.
do it. You can absolutely do it. You see so many bands now coming out with female artists, and, it seems to be making a resurgence now of female fronted bands, which I think is very, very refreshing. So, coming out with this song at this time, I think is an amazing thing.
Yes, absolutely. And I think just again, reminding yourself of that little voice that you are capable of, especially coming from someone like you, I think it's so important. So thank you for that advice. And I wanted to ask you this real quick in regards to live shows in the future. Is it still too early to start thinking of what live shows are going to look like for you? Or again, is it something that your wheels are already turning with?
It's a little early now. I was at a Come As You Are event
Nice.
and we did like a little sneak preview of my song. I thought we were just going to play it and just see how the crowd like reacted to it. I didn't know until 3 hours beforehand. And then, they were like, no, you're gonna sing it on stage. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. So, being on stage, I definitely realized, I can't jump around as much as I want to, or else, it'll affect my vocals. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to like tame this down, but still give the crowd this high energy. But everyone that was there really, really enjoyed it. It was a great experience. It was fun, and I can't wait to do it again whenever I have my full set.
Hell yeah. Well, another common theme here, life teaching you how to adapt, right?
Yes.
So much fun. Well, I cannot wait to see the energy that you're going to be putting into the future projects. If you wouldn't mind, Maggie Jo, telling everyone that's tuning in today where they can find this new song, where they can find the music video, and where to find you online.
So you can find me online on Instagram, and there's also my songs on Spotify. YouTube is where you are going to find the music video under Dark Kingdom Records. And then I think it's out on the other platforms as well. I heard it was on Apple Music, so it's on all the platforms. I just listened to it on Spotify.
So amazing. My last closing question with you, real quick. The show is called Unshut. It means open, not holding back, not really having a filter. When it comes to a year later, you're going to maybe stumble across an old interview that you've done, right? What would you want your future self to hear, unfiltered, just as you are today?
I would say that my future self would probably look back and just be like, you freaking did it. You
Hell
did it.
yeah.
You did it scared and you succeeded. So hopefully that's what I'll be saying to myself a year from now. And I'm going to keep going for it.
I have a really good feeling about it. I think you're going to be just fine for sure. I have a good feeling.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time. I loved talking about this song. I cannot wait for my listeners to be exposed to it. And I'll be dropping some clips of that video, of that hottie that's in the video too, for everyone to see. And I
Thank
cannot
you.
wait to promote it. Thank you so much for your time today, Maggie Jo.
Thank you.
Amazing. Take care of yourself and we'll be in touch, all right?
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.